So you're thinking about moving to Northern Virginia, but you're seeing all of this crazy stuff happen, like interest rates doubling, and you're wondering, is now really a good time to buy? Well, I definitely do not have a crystal ball. I can tell you that I'm in the market daily with buyers and sellers, and I'm going to talk about exactly what I'm seeing in the Northern Virginia market and whether or not it's a good time to buy. If this is your first time on the channel and you want to know everything there is about eating, sleeping, working, playing, and living in Northern Virginia, be sure to hit that subscribe button and tap that bell for notifications so that you'll never miss a video. My name is Amanda, and the team and I get calls every single day from people just like you looking to make their move to Northern Virginia, and we absolutely love it. Whether you're moving in 9 days or 90 days, give us a call, shoot us a text, send us an email, shoot us a DM, whatever works for you, and we'll be happy to help you make that smooth move to Northern Virginia. So you've been thinking about buying for a few months now, and you've seen interest rates go from absolutely incredibly low, like 3%. I have some buyers that locked in the high 2%. And now they've gone 4, 5, 6%. They're teetering right now above 6%, about 6.5% at the time that I am making this video. And that can be very alarming as a buyer, and it brings up a lot of questions. What has happened in the market in Northern Virginia is, yes, some of those rate increases have bumped some buyers completely out of the market. They were already tight on their pre-approvals, and when those rates went up and it meant their payment was going to change, so their pre-approval value dropped, they just are not in the market anymore. But in Northern Virginia, the market is still doing just fine. And in some cases, we are still seeing multiple offers, just not nearly as much as we were. And we're also not seeing homes sell as fast. So things have slowed down a little bit, which honestly is a very good thing. We were like the Kentucky Derby, along with every other market in the United States. And we were just going too hard and too fast. And what was happening with those incredibly low rates is people were then putting in offers that were 40, 50, 60 in Northern Virginia, $150,000, $200,000 above list price, waiving inspections, waiving appraisal contingencies, waiving financing contingencies, doing anything they possibly could to get into a home. And now what has happened with the rates going up, things are not going the way that they were, but they're still just fine. And I know the headlines will tell you otherwise, and the housing market is crashing, and that is just not what we are seeing in Northern Virginia. And Northern Virginia is also a very unique market. Even if we go back to 2008, this is not the same as 2008, but to go back to even that time frame, Northern Virginia, particularly inside the Beltway, didn't get hit nearly as hard as other areas in the United States. And the reason for that is, one, this is a very transient area with multiple military bases and proximity to the government. There is always going to be employment here. And, well, there's always going to be employment here as long as the government is here. And quite frankly, if things are going bad in the Northern Virginia market, it is a very bad sign for all the other markets out there because we just don't get hit as hard. If you are looking for a home and you're seeing these interest rates go up and you're thinking, wow, maybe this is a terrible time to buy, let's talk numbers a little bit. Right now, you're probably looking at a payment that is anywhere from $200 to $400 higher than it would have been, say, 3 to 5 months ago because of the increase in interest rates. And I know that sounds like a lot, and I'm not downplaying that, but let's look at the big picture. If you're talking, say, $400 a month higher, then over a 2-year period, that's about $9,600 more that you're paying. Let's rewind and go back 3 to 5 months to when there was basically no inventory. There was 30 to 40 buyers for each home that was coming on the market. And in order to secure that home, buyers were put into a position where they literally were forced to offer 30, 40, 50, insert a high number here, over list price, on top of waiving all of their contingencies, which is also a cost as well. Maybe not on paper, but in the long term, it is a cost. And all of that adds up to far more than $9,600. So the buyers that I'm working with now, when we have a conversation about their individual needs and we bring in a lender to look at their finances and determine what's going to be best and give them their options, a lot are very surprised when we present that idea of, hey, it's really not so bad that, yes, your monthly payment is going to be higher, but the good news is there are more homes to choose from. You can actually shop for a home as a buyer, which is a beautiful thing and how it should be. You shouldn't be forced to make a decision after you've seen a home for 15 minutes and then you've got to get your offer in the next 2 hours in order to be considered. And on top of actually having some homes to look at, more than just one, and shop for a home, you also are in a position in the current market where we are seeing home inspections are back. Not in every case. That's where your agent comes in to determine how popular a home is. But in the majority of cases, home inspection contingencies are back. Appraisal contingencies are back. Financing contingencies are back. So as a buyer, you're getting back some of those additional items in a contract that had just gone out the window not that long ago because rates were so low. So if you're thinking about buying in Northern Virginia, first step is to ask yourself, would you rather go back to you're in a bidding war and yes, your rate is lower, but you've had to pay tens of thousands of dollars more and waive your appraisal in order to get into a home? Or where we are now is, yes, your rate is going to be higher, which may impact your buying power depending on your personal situation. But with that higher rate, you get the opportunity to, in a lot of cases, avoid multiple offers, or instead of 40 offers, maybe there's 2 or 3 offers. You're getting to have a home inspection again. You've got your protection of appraisal contingency so that if the house doesn't appraise for the sale price, you're not forced to come up with that additional money in the form of a higher down payment. And you've got your financing contingency, so you have some time to get your loan underwritten and fully approved without that risk falling on you as the purchaser. There is no one size fits all. It doesn't matter what the market is doing. Everybody's situation is unique. And that's what we do with our buyers and our sellers for that matter, is have that personal conversation, really dive into what your personal situation is, what you're looking for, what your financial situation is. We'll bring in the lender for that to determine whether or not now is the right time to buy. I do think now is a good time to buy. It is so refreshing. It's like a breath of fresh air to be able to actually take our buyers out and properly shop for a home instead of them feeling like they just have to go after a home because it's literally the only one available. Those days are gone, and the reason for that is the increase in interest rates. The Fed just met last week. They decided to bump a 0.75 again. And while that's not directly tied to mortgage rates, the interesting thing about this recent increase, mortgage rates typically go down a little bit when the Fed increases their rate, but this time mortgage rates went even higher, and they predict them to go higher through the end of the year. The experts out there, again, they're all guessing as much as I would be or anyone would be. There's no crystal ball, but they are predicting in 2 to 3 years for rates to come back down. But inflation has got to get under control before that option is going to be on the table. Something else to think about if you are considering purchasing in this market is an interest rate is not forever. And I'm gonna say hypothetically not forever, because I think it's a disservice. There's the whole saying out there right now, marry the house, date the rate. And yes, if rates go down, maybe you can refinance, but keep in mind, There's cost with refinancing, number one. And number two, in order to refinance, you need to make sure that you're keeping your finances in check leading up to refinancing, because it's going to be a whole new loan application. They're going to be looking at your credit again, your debt to income, employment, all of that fun stuff. So is it a possibility that you could refi into a lower rate down the road? Yes, but I don't want to be one of those agents who's saying, oh, it's just, marry the house, date the rate, because it's not that simple. There's a conversation to be had around that as well. I think that from a market standpoint in Northern Virginia, everything is still just fine. For the most part, if we do a blanket approach, it's a seller's market. I don't love doing a blanket approach though, because real estate is so local, right down to the neighborhood. But in general, for the most part, it's a seller's market. Some neighborhoods have gone to a stable market, but so far I am not seeing any that are a full-blown buyer's market. That could be coming though. We are seeing more inventory come into the market. I think it's going to be a challenge though, because so many homeowners have these incredibly low rates. They don't want to give up that rate, because if they sell and buy something else, they're buying at a higher price, they're moving up, and then they're taking on that higher interest rate. So that's kind of putting handcuffs on sellers right now, which is going to mean there's not going to be this massive influx of inventory. If rates go back down in the future, maybe more sellers will go ahead and list their home. Bottom line, for whether or not you should buy, it depends on your personal situation. None of us is exactly the same as far as whether or not it's the right time to buy, both from an inventory standpoint, an interest rate standpoint, and a finance standpoint. That's where we come in, we sit down, we have a consultation with all of our buyers and our sellers to determine what's actually going to be best for your individual situation. It's a customized approach. It should never be a one size fits all. And I can always share information about the general market, but everyone is different. So if you're thinking about buying in Northern Virginia and you have questions, be sure to reach out. It doesn't matter if you're buying in 9 days or 90 days. You can give us a call, shoot us a text, send us an email or a DM, whatever works for you, and we'll be happy to help you on whether or not it's the right time to buy for you, or maybe it should be further down the road. Don't worry, I know this is a little different from our normal videos. We will definitely be back with more vlogs and map tours and pros and cons, all the fun stuff we normally do. I just wanted to get this video out there so that you all have an idea of what's happening in the Northern Virginia market. It is so far from a crash, not even close. Yes, rates are higher, but the upside to that is you can actually shop for a home. Homes are staying on the market a little bit longer, and not every single one of them is getting a pile of offers. Thanks for tuning in. Until next time, we hope to show you around town.